bone bed that is a maximum of 3 feet thick. And yes, we speak in feet and yards because this place has been here forever. Late 1920s was the earliest scientific expedition out here. University of Utah. They did a terrible job. I mean, for the time, yes, it was good. But they didn't find the site. They were led here. Did they bother recording who led them? No. So we don't know who the first European settler was that found this place. We assume it was a cowboy or sheep herder out looking for his cows or sheep. We have visual aids in the visitor center here that'll drive home this dense thing. They did not bother mapping the bones. Got to remember, back in the late 1920s, simply coming back with good dinosaur bone was considered good paleontology. This site reflects how paleontology has evolved as a science over the years. From simply going out and grabbing bones here and there to now we have three-dimensional photogrammetric mapping going on, which is wonderful to be able to say. I got to practice that because it's not rolling off the lips very well there. And everything in between. Princeton was out here in 1939 to 41 in the person of William Stokes, who was growing up in the town of Cleveland, about 10, 15 miles over this way. The name Cleveland Lloyd is based on his desire to have his hometown remembered. The Lloyd comes from Malcolm Lloyd, who was a Princeton alum, Philadelphia lawyer, who donated $10,000 to the effort in 1941. $10,000 in 1941 was a lot of money. So that's why he got his name in here. Typically this would have just been the Lloyd Quarry, but well, we got Cleveland Lloyd. Okay, they did a better job. They actually did try and map the bones, and I've seen the maps, and they're very nicely drawn. Do they include a north arrow? Do they include a scale bar? This is Princeton we're talking about? I go, how did I get a reputation like that? Anyway, Stokes went on, he got his PhD, he came back to Utah, went to work at the University of Utah, eventually became the chairman of the geology department. Remember, he was a geologist. He did dinosaurs kind of on the side. And in 1960, he started what was called the Cooperative Dinosaur Dig. Apparently, he wasn't very good at grant writing because he couldn't get funding to support this effort. So the way he got funding was he called up museums and colleges around the country and said, hey, send me money and or workers, and I'll send you a dinosaur skeleton, and it'll have some real bone in it. Okay, does that sound like you're selling dinosaur bone? It does to me, which was illegal back then, is very much illegal today, but he got away with it, and consequently we're world famous. Oh well. I guess we can live with it too. That effort, again, had a few flaws. Instead of putting Jim Madsen, his grad student, in charge of the dig, he had an unemployed brother still living in Cleveland who was really good at making cabinets, especially when you consider he was blind in one eye. That's the guy he hired to put in charge of the dinosaur dig. And he did explain, okay, you got to number these bones as you're pulling them out of the ground. And I want you to draw a map as you pull them out of the ground too. Okay, got it. So at the end of the summer, brings his brother this nicely drawn map, all these nicely numbered bones. Were any of the bones on the map numbered? Oh. How much information did we lose there? You know, and that's the sad story of Cleveland Lloyd. It's like, oops, don't do that again. You know, so we do have a puzzle here. Dr. Peterson and his crew are closing in on getting a solution. Sometime in the next few years, hopefully we'll be able to tell you a solution. But for now, you guys are scientists. Let's use your brains. So I figure, okay, we can't accommodate, I can accommodate 40 first graders in here, but they're really small. So we're going to split you in two groups, and one group will go down to the quarry buildings,